that notice that was put up, it was put up based on the directions given by the HRNC department. And if they are not bound by the department, why should he quote that it was put up there based on the directions of the HRNC department?
Basically, a car driver in HRNC is paid 18,000, 20,000 rupees a year, month. And Oduvar, who has to learn Tevaram for 7 years, he is given a daily wage of 100 rupees. There are Vidudalai Chiruttai party men who, sitting in the locality, keep creating trouble, fomenting trouble, and giving these others a bad.
Chidambaram people have supported VCK. They've elected Mr. Thirumavalavan. So looks like Chidambaram people are supporting. I would like to ask this question, sir. How do you see Mr. Shekhar Babu's statement that he's going to work on collecting documentation to attach the Chidambaram temple, sir? Is it not against Article 26?
Nagur Dargah was built by Maratha king Pratap Simhan. Why doesn't he take over Nagur temple? That's HRNC Act. Have you read the HRNC Act?
Not fully.
HRNC Act. If these others can be removed from their temple for mismanagement, should not the HRNC minister, based on the reports or documents available, remove HRNC officials from?
The court should say that.
Why court should say that? The minister should say that, because the minister only said, I'm collecting documents to take over Chidambaram temple. Why the court should say that? Is not the minister responsible for proper administration of temples? That is what he is there for. Is he not receiving the salary for that purpose? The BJP, which came to power on a Hindutva flag, slowly turning out to be Hindus can face enemies, but they cannot face traitors.
Hello and welcome to Chanakya's Face Off. Today we have with us temple activist Mr. T.R. Ramesh to talk about the recent issues surrounding the Chidambaram Nataraja temple. We've all known that in the past few days, there was a series of incidents that happened in the Chidambaram Nataraja temple when the temple officials prevented devotees from entering the raised platform closer to the sanctum sanctorium of the temple, which is called the Kanagasabai. And this action was taken as part of the Ani Thirumanjanam festival, which was celebrated very recently for 4 days. And the restriction was only during the 4 days. But a lot of chaos and issues were raised by the Tamil Nadu HRNC department and its officials to allow devotees to enter into the Kanagasabai during the temple Thirumanjanam festival. So we have, and following this, an interesting development has happened where the Tamil Nadu HRNC minister, Mr. Shekhar Babu, has categorically said that he's going to take efforts, or the HRNC department is going to take efforts to attach the Chidambaram Nataraja temple, which is currently not under the HRNC, to be brought under HRNC. You are, Mr. Ramesh, you're the best person to talk about this topic. You file a lot of PALs against the Tamil Nadu HRNC in favor of the temples, and you've got great judgments. So how do you see this, sir? First of all, how do you see my narration? Did I cover the subject correctly, or would you like to add to it?
In the first place, I like to subtract something from that. I'm a plain citizen who is fighting for the temple cause. I was formerly with an international bank, Citibank. Now I'm on my own. I'm the president of Temple Worshippers Society, an organization that was formed to protect the interest of temples, their properties, and the rights of the devotees. I'm also the president of Indic Collective Trust, which have activities across Tamil Nadu and beyond Tamil Nadu, across India. Okay, so the devotees were not prevented from going out of the Kanagasabai. The first place, the Kanagasabai, is a place of rituals where the 6 Kala Pujas of the day happen. And there is a very limited space in the Kanagasabai where devotees can stand and have darshan. This place was earlier, before pre-COVID days, it was used for those people who wanted to do some special archanas. Generally, people were having darshan below the Kanagasabha only. Generally, that's the tradition in Chidambaram. During COVID, the temples faced lockdown, and even when the interim periods when the temples were opened after the lockdowns, devotees were not allowed in the Kanagasabha. There was a collective decision taken by the body of Podu Dikshitas. They are well within their rights, their administrative rights, their denominational rights to take such a decision. Mainly because the Kanagasabha is a puja area. Second, very few devotees can go up there and have darshan. Whereas more than 99% devotees coming to the temple could not be accommodated there. That's the truth.
Space constraint. Okay.
Space constraint, definite space constraint. And if you start allowing people there, then people will stand there, remain there, and getting them down will be difficult. And the people waiting here will start shouting. And all this chaos will happen in the immediate vicinity of the puja area. This should not be there in a temple. The HRNC department knows this very well, and more than that, they know they have no authority in this temple. But they and their political masters, especially when the DMK came to power, their only intention is to somehow decimate this community, which is a Vedic community. Though a Tamilian community, they are a Vedic community. Decimate this micro community and also take over the temple in their hands, because this is the only large temple in Tamil Nadu which is not under the control of the HRNC department. Payani Temple, Srirangam Temple, Kallaragat Temple, Thiruvannamalai Temple, Tiruchendur Temple, they're all under the control of the HRNC department. Though HRNC is administering them only by fraud, FRAUD. I have so many times challenged HRNC department to come with a debate on me. I have also filed cases where they are not denying the fraud. They are only saying government should take care of temples. They are not saying they are there without any legal authority. They are not saying that. So they want to include this temple so that the picture is complete. One of the biggest temples, one of the most ancient temples in Tamil Nadu is not in their hands, and this is a shining example of good administration that they do not want to have.
Okay.
So this is the intention of the HRNC department.
Okay, makes sense. So I have this. I'll just pick from what you said. You said this is one of the oldest temple, and this has been administered by a specific group of people called Dikshitars, right? So they are Brahmins, but they are a separate sect. I should say they are a separate ethnic race who are completely associated with this temple and are only associated with this temple for a very long time. Can you tell us how long have they been associated with this temple, and what is the history behind this temple, briefly, so that our viewers will be educated about
I should really thank you for using the term separate ethnic race, because they do not belong to any other Brahmin community or Smartha Brahmin community. They are a race by themselves, and they're unique, found only in Chidambaram, found nowhere else, and closed community. The total population will be like only about 1,200 or so. The number of Dikshitas will be about 440 Dikshitas. That's all. A very, very micro community. Now, if you ask me since when they are there from the establishment of the temple, from the origin of the temple. Because
when was
Patnatar
that?
says about 2000 years ago.
2000
More than 2000.
Okay.
Patnatar says that Lord Nataraja came with the Dikshitas and established himself in Chidambaram. The temple was not there before the Dikshitas. Number one. Number two, one of the oldest religious works in Tamil is Tirumandiram, a Saivite work.
Tirumular's work, Tirumandiram.
Tirumandiram, which is supposed to be more than 2000 years old.
Mm-hmm.
In Thirumandaram, you hear the name of only two temples. One is Chidambaram, one is Tirukadavur.
Mm. Abhirami. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So no other temple is mentioned. Tirukadavur is associated with Markandeya,
Mm.
okay, where Markandeya worshipped and Shiva kicked the Yama
Mm.
to protect Markandeya. So such an
Mm.
ancient temple. Similarly, Chidambaram is also an ancient temple. So from the beginning, the Dikshitas are associated with the temple. They have been administering it. In fact, if you look at it, there is no community in the world which has done the same social, cultural, and religious works for 20 centuries residing in one place. Today, you cannot show one community in the world like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can search in Amazon forest, you can search in Andaman Islands. You will not find a community which has been domiciled in only one place and doing the same thing over 20 centuries and having a history of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Show me one community across the world, you will not find it. So the Dikshitas are also a community which have something which are the best examples of something called the intangible cultural heritage. And anything that has intangible cultural heritage, UNESCO says they must be protected at all costs.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the government, which harps so much about protecting minorities, is out to decimate the micro community just because they are labeled Brahmins. Also, because they are the icon of Sanatana Dharma, which is Vedic Dharma. This is not an agamic temple, this is a Vedic temple.
Mm.
So, they want to destroy that institution. How to destroy the institution? By destroying the Dikshitas. So, even after the Supreme Court judgment of 54, and even after the judgment of 2014, the HRNC still says we will take over this temple. How will they
So,
take over the temple?
okay, so I would like to quote the judgment on 2014 by the
Hmm.
Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court, where it has categorically said that this temple is very much protected by the Article 26 of the Constitution. Yet
Yes.
they had clearly given some directions where the HRNCE can intervene into the temple affairs.
Okay. You are saying when
So,
there is mismanagement, the temple can be
yes,
taken over. You are
yes,
coming to that. Yes. Yeah. Go
yes,
ahead.
yes. No, I'm just quoting. I'm just quoting. So this Chidambaram temple, right? It has been constantly brought out into limelight for reasons like I wouldn't say mismanagement, but there has been constant issues around this Chidambaram temple, and every time, even I would like to quote a particular instance where the Saivite people were prevented from entering the Kanagasabai to recite Tevaram. Tevaram is, like it is one of the it is the best Tamil devotional hymns which is sung about Lord Shiva, and Tamil Nadu government had to issue a geo to let that happen. That happened last year, I believe, or my memory might be wrong.
The
Last
memory is
year or
completely
18 months back.
that happened in 2008.
Okay.
Okay. Now, let me tell you, do you have any idea who the Saivites are? Who are the first among the Saivites?
Mm. No, sir.
Any idea?
No.
Yes. The first among the Saivites are Chidambaram Dikshitas.
Mm-hmm.
There is a Padigam, Tiruttondattogai, in which Sundaramurti Nayanar names 60 Nayanars as Shiva devotees and 9 general set of devotees. And he says, I am the son of, he mentions his father's name, his mother's name, and his name, and he ends the Padigam, the 10 songs or 11 songs. So there are 63 Nayanmar, including Sundaramurti Swamigal, his parents. There are 9 general set of devotees. And before he sang this Padigam, he asked Lord Tyagaraja of Thiruvarur, how can I sing um, uh, the devotees of Shiva? How do I do that? So Shiva gives him a line to begin with. The line
Thillai
given by
Vazhandar, the
Illai Vaaz
Madigar
Andar.
Dayen.
So they are the first among the Saivites, number one. And Deekshadars are the best protectors of Tevaram and Tirumurai. You should know that first. Tevaram is 1, 2, 3, Tirumurai is Jnanasambanda's Tevaram. 4, 5, 6, Tirumurai is Tirunavukarsa Swami's Tevaram. The seventh Tirumurai is Sundaramurti Swamigal's Tevaram. These 7 Tirumurais were kept in Chidambaram and they were found in Chidambaram for Tamil Nadu to get it. Are you aware of that?
Yes,
So,
sir. I've seen it
Tevaram,
in Rajaraja Solan movie, sir.
that is a stupid movie. Anyway,
No, just to bring it light. Yeah.
a lot of factual errors there. Let's leave it
Right,
aside.
right.
The fact is, Tirumurai was protected in Chidambaram. Okay. The 8th Tirumurai is Tiruvasagam and Tirukkovayar. It was given by the Deekshadars to the world. It was found at Kanagasabai, at Panchacharapadi, and the Deekshadars gave it to the entire world. Can you imagine Saivism without Tiruvasagam, Tirukkovayar? The 9th Tirumurai is mainly about Chidambaram temple. As I told you, 10th Tirumurai, Tirumandaram, it talks about Chidambaram. The 11th Tirumurai has many references to Chidambaram, and the 12th Tirumurai, Periya Puranam,
Very Purana.
Lord Nataraja gave the first line, Volahelam, first word rather. Volahelam he gave, and with that Shekira sang that Periya Puranam, the hagiology of Saivite science, and the Arangetram was carried out in Chidambaram.
Chidambaram.
So the Deekshadars are the best protectors and propagators of Saivism and Tirumurai and Tevaram. A tea shop fellow, a former lorry cleaner, was propped up and given a name as Voduvar, and he was given a Saivite Vesham, and he was forcibly means plannedly taken to Kanagasabai, and he said, I will sing Tevaram only from here. Deekshadars are not permitting me here.
Can't a
First of
tea
all, as
shop
I told
person
you,
go to Kanagasabai to sing Tevaram?
nobody can go to Kanagasabai to sing Tevaram because, or nobody can go to Kanagasabai to recite Vedas, or nobody can go to Kanagasabai and sing songs in praise of Shiva, because that is a puja area reserved for Deekshadars. Will you say, I will go to the puja area in other temples and sing Tevaram? They stopped me there.
Just
Will you say that?
a little confused. No, sir. I understand your point. But there are two entries, right? There is an entry on the right side where the Dikshidhars come in, and the left side. I recently visited Chidambaram. I was in
Okay.
India a while ago, and I recently visited 2-3 weeks ago. I visited Chidambaram. I was allowed to go into the Kanagasabai. In fact, everyone was allowed to go into the Kanagasabai through the left entrance. That is the way. That is the place where people go in, right?
Okay. So you
So
can go
there.
and darshan. You can't go and start doing rituals. Can you do that?
Reciting Tevaram inside Kanagasabai is
Reciting
a
Tevaram,
okay.
reciting Tevaram is a ritual after doing the Kala Puja. 6 times a day, Tevaram is recited in Chidambaram. If the devotee sings, he sings from the below the Kanagasabai. If a Dikshadar sings Tevaram, he sings it from the Kanagasabai. That's the difference. From the Kanagasabai, Dikshadar can sing. Below the Kanagasabai, devotees can sing because the puja area belongs to Dikshadars only, and only they can perform pujas there, including singing of Tevaram. The
Okay.
Dikshadars are not against Tevaram, and the so-called lorry cleaner fellow who called himself a Voduvar, he does not know a single Tevaram. He used to go and stand there and start singing, saying, Namachivaya Varga, then he will be mumbling something. He is not a Vodwar at all. He is not given one performance anywhere publicly, showing his proficiency in Tevaram, showing his knowledge in Tevaram, showing his capability to sing. Nothing. He was a setup fellow. Okay, now you said the GO was passed. All the GOs passed before 2014 were set aside by Supreme Court.
Correct.
And once the temple is a denominational temple, the government's authority stops there. So
Agreed.
the allegation about Deekshadars stopping somebody from singing Tevaram is a baseless allegation, is a false allegation. Now let me tell you, if the HRNC department, a department which depends on fraud to function in temples? Are they so keen about Tevaram? How many Oduvars they have appointed in the temples? Tirunelveli had 4 Oduvars in 1947. Now there's not even a single Oduvar there. A temple having more than 3,500 acres.
You are referring to the Nellapur temple.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
There was an Oduvar who was given a daily wages of 100 rupees. A car driver in HRNC is paid 18,000, 20,000 rupees a year, month. An Oduvar who has to learn Tevaram for 7 years, who has to learn music, who has to learn Tamil knowledge, he is given a daily wage of 100 rupees, which is not even the wage of the government works that happen in villages and road laying or whatever.
Sir, one quick question, sir. So, yeah, from the beginning, we were, even I was referring, and you also validated that this temple is not under HRNC. I saw one of the interviews by the Chidambaram Natarajar management trustee, one of the trustee who was speaking. He said that notice that was put up, it was put up based on the directions given by the HRNC department. And if they are not bound by the department, why should he quote that it was put up there based on the directions
No.
of the HRNC department?
Basically, the HRNC has passed a GO, and in good faith, the Dikshadars have not challenged the GO so far. They are allowing people, and you also went atop the Kanagasabai recently, you said, and had darshan. When you went to Kanagasabai, how many people were waiting below? And how
No,
much time you had?
I went on an odd day, so there were not many people. In fact, the Dikshitas were sending everyone whoever came to get prasadam. They were sending, you can go up the Kanagasabai and you can have darshan. So they were, in fact, encouraging people to go because it was
See,
very less crowded.
correct. Dikshadars are not opposed to devotees having darshan from Kanagasabai if it is possible, if it is manageable. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, during this festival, they did not want the HRNC to create trouble, so they informed HRNC. They did not use the direction from HRNC because there is no such direction. No direction was given by HRNC to put a board or something like that. They said we
So
are
one
going
of
to.
the Chidambaram trustee Dikshidhar, he made this statement. I can show you that
He
video
made a
also.
blatant error if he said so, because I know
Yeah.
it to be a fact that HRNC cannot issue such directions, and the joint commissioner he or she is no fellow to pass any such directions regarding Chidambaram temple. They put a board because of the Ani Thirumanjan festival that 4 days there will be no darshan from Kanagasabai, because earlier they will not put such boards. When Dikshadars say for 4 days there will be no darshan, people will listen.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask. Is it how was it done last year? Until last year, this board was
No,
not.
last year, the year previous, and everything, people in Chidambaram know that during festivals, the Kanagasabha darshan will not be allowed because 50,000, 60,000 people come during festivals.
Yeah, it's a
You
very big
cannot allow.
festival. Yeah.
You cannot allow at all. So they need not take directions to put a board or make an announcement from HRNC. They will not do that. Dikshadars are fiercely protective of their rights in the temple. What this particular Dikshadar would have given an interview or said in the interview is that yes, the HRNC knows about this. He would have meant that. If he said we took directions from the HRNC, it is completely wrong. Probably the
No,
Dikshadar meant
he said they in fact recommended us to put the board, and based on their recommendation, we have put the board. That's what he said
what
exactly.
happens is before every festival, the Dikshadars have a round of talks with revenue authorities, municipal authorities, because they have to do a chariot procession. Police authorities will be there in the meeting. The sub collector, the police, the deputy superintendent police, the municipal chairman, everybody will be there because it's a festival and this is a temple town. Each others will have to coordinate with these government authorities for a smooth functioning of the festival. The government invariably invites HRNC department for this meeting also. So they would have said that for 4 days we cannot allow permit darshan. Then the HRNC fellow would have said, let them put a board or something like that. It is not a direction. It could have been a suggestion which
They
Deekshithas,
also accepted.
only based on the suggestion, they did not do that. They
Mm.
usually say people are not allowed for. This time they put a board. Probably they fell into a trap laid by the HRNC fellow.
Mm.
That's what would have happened.
Okay, so how is the local support in Chidambaram for the Dikshitas, sir? Are they
The
popular?
locals know that the Dikshitas are selfless service people. They have protected the temple. The pujas happened like clockwork. The Dikshitas never compromise on the religious aspects of the temple.
Mm.
The locals know that Dikshitas have Tevaram knowledge. They themselves sing when devotees are not available. They themselves sing Tevaram. All these the local people know. But
Mm.
there are Naxalites in the locality. There are Vidudalai Chirthai party men. There are crypto Christians. There are people working for the missionary stooges who, sitting in the locality, keep creating trouble, fomenting trouble, and giving these others a bad name. These things have been happening
So
regularly from.
Chidambaram people have supported VCK. They've elected Mr. Thirumavalavan. So looks like
So,
Chidambaram people are supporting.
Chidambaram people have voted for VCK,
Mhm.
Chidambaram constituency people. That doesn't mean Chidambaram people would want VCK to administer the temple.
No, no,
Is that the sense?
absolutely. No.
Ah.
Their
So,
rights are unchallenged because it's a Supreme Court order we have. Yeah.
no, it's not only that. Even the people would not want anybody else to interfere in the
In
administration
the temple
of
affairs. Okay.
temple affairs. Okay, they have done many agitations before,
Okay.
because
Now,
they elected somebody, or
mm,
because people took 2,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees for one vote and voted for a particular party. That doesn't mean they are against each other.
okay. Okay. Makes sense, sir. And I would like to ask this question, sir. How do you see HRNC Minister Mr. Shekhar Babu's statement that he's going to work on collecting documentation to attach the Chidambaram temple, sir? Is it not against Article 26?
Collect what documents? I
No,
don't know. See this.
if I had the chance to ask him, probably I'll ask him, but I don't know honestly.
No. See, he has been saying that for last 2 years now.
Yeah.
We will bring the Chidambaram temple under the HRNC. This is a temple built by kings. Okay, Nagur Dargah was built by Maratha king Pratap Simhan. Why doesn't he take over Nagur temple, Nagur Dargah?
For that matter, only the Hindu. It's a Hindu HRNC, right? It's only for Hindus. That way, it's
No,
been against the
that's
minorities.
HRNC
Yeah.
Act. That's HRNC Act. Have you read the HRNC Act?
Not fully.
HRNC Act. There is no section that says temples built by kings can be taken over by government, or temples can be taken over by government. Is
Yeah,
there any
temples
section?
itself cannot be taken over. That's what the act says. It can only administer in case of
Temple
mismanagement.
is a place of worship. The HRNC Act in section 23 gives the substance of the commissioner's powers. It says the commissioner has authority to ensure that the due income is collected from the temple properties, and the income so collected is utilized only for the purposes for which the temple was established or exist.
Mm.
Okay? The commissioner, that IAS fellow's job is only to ensure that the temple properties derive due income, their fair income. It is collected without fail, and such income is used only for the temple purposes.
Mhm.
Whereas for lakhs of acres, the income is not collected properly under the HRNC. And even the hundi money and the other monies that come to the temple, the HRNC fellows take that money to buy cars for the minister, cars for the HRNC officials. They even buy toilet seats for the HRNC officials. They regularly spend temple monies for their department meeting expenses, lunch expenses, even coffee tea expenses, even newspapers in the department in each section is bought with the temple money. Shameless fellows. But they say we will get documents to take over Chidambaram temple. There are two questions I would like to ask.
Mhm.
One is the Chidambaram temple does not have a hundi. There is no public money collected.
Mm.
The Chidambaram temple does not have shops, so there are no shop rentals. The Chidambaram temple has 3,500 acres. The entire set of lands of 3,500 acres is under the custody of the Special Tahsildar temple lands in Chidambaram, From 1976, the special Tahsildar works under the HRNC commissioner. So there is no money generated in the temple. There is all the possibility of a money of up to 3 crore rupees to be generated from the lands, which is not being generated, which is not being given to the temple by the HRNC department. This is point A. Point B is, if they are collecting something about mismanagement, they can take over. That is what we have to take the meaning of HRNC Minister Shekhar Babu. I have given tons of information in the court and otherwise regarding the mismanagement, abject mismanagement, lousy management of Payani Temple, of Srirangam Temple, of Kapalishwara Temple, of Vadabandi Temple, of Tiruchendur Temple. 5,389 cows were stolen by HRNC officials in one audit period in Tiruchendur. Not even an FIR was filed. These things which only will do, how can respected HRNC officials do? So I have documents, tons of documents. Will they remove HRNC from the temples? If each others can be removed, for argument's sake, from their temple for mismanagement, should not the HRNC minister, based on the reports or documents available, remove HRNC officials from Tiruchendur temple and Payani temple?
The court should say that.
Why court should say that? The minister should say that, because the minister only said, I'm collecting documents to take over Chidambaram temple. Why the court should say that? Is not the minister responsible for proper administration of temples? That is what he is there for. Is he not receiving the salary for that purpose? The minister is a honorable minister.
No. I completely understand your point. When I said the court should say that, I said, since you have moved the court on these issues, we should wait.
I move the court because the government is non-functional. Let me add a point C to this. Supreme Court, in the Shirur Mutt judgment, by a constitutional bench, having 7 judges, said even if there is mismanagement in a denominational temple, the administration cannot be vested in a secular authority, which means you remove those people who have carried out the mismanagement from the denomination and replace them with better members of the denomination to administer
the same denomination.
Yes. You cannot put a secular fellow there. You cannot put a government servant there. You cannot put a HRNC servant there. This is the law laid down by Honorable Supreme Court through its constitutional bench. So can Shekhar Babu violate the constitutional bench with orders with impunity?
Absolutely. So I have one last question, sir. So the Chidambaram Dikshithas have been continuously moving court for such issues for a longer period of time. Say, for example, they've been having, talking for their rights and to hold on to the temple and to perform their duties for quite some time. And continuously, for every issue that is created, they had to go to the court and they have to get. But even after a very, very substantial judgment that was given in 2014, till date, they are continuously being targeted. And continuously being, I would say, I wouldn't use the word harassed, but I would say they're continuously being targeted. So is there a permanent solution? Sorry?
They are harassed.
Okay. So is there a permanent...
dishonest officials.
Okay. So is there a permanent solution? Like, even after the Supreme Court's judgment, this is happening. So what do you, in your knowledge, sir, in your experience, what do you think will be a permanent solution for the Chidambaram Dikshithas?
I have 3 or 4 answers for this.
Sure, sir.
If we have the time.
I do, sir. I do.
Okay. Now, first of all, this is the bane of our system in the country. There are enormous number of cases in our courts, and the judges are really, really working under pressure. There's no doubt about it. At the same time, the judges have failed in 2 aspects. If you see most of the petitions, except commercial petitions, you will find a line in the judgment saying there shall be no order as to costs. That means somebody has filed a case to establish his or her rights, or justifying some injustice done to him or her, and the court gives a judgment on that. But If he is filed a wrong case, the court is not penalizing him with cause, or if he is filed a right case, the court is not penalizing the other side with cause. Because if I go to court, it's not going to be easy. It is going to be a very expensive affair. Especially if I go to High Court or Supreme Court, it's going to be a very, very expensive affair. So the court, in all fairness, should impose costs on the wrong side of the petitioners and the respondents. Whoever is on the wrong, the court should impose costs of the case. Number one. Number two, when a government fellow, a government servant, a government official, he violates the court orders, he violates the court directions, he should be put in jail for contempt. In the last 10, 20 years, how many such officials have been put in jail by the courts? Even though there are thousands of incidents of them violating the court order or not carrying out the court directions, etc., etc.
Sir, if properly a charge
If
sheet
a
is
few
filed,
IAS
that
officers
has
are put to
happened.
jail, sorry,
Yeah, yeah. No, if properly a charge sheet has been filed and evidences has been proved, I think that has
ma'am,
happened.
you are going on a wrong tangent, wrong understanding. We are not talking about charge sheet. We are talking about contempt. Contempt is a
Okay.
case where the judges themselves can decide then and there, or after giving notice to the contemnor. Okay,
Okay.
the court has given a particular direction. The government official who is supposed to carry it out has not carried it out. That is contempt. The court has given a particular direction. The government official has violated the direction and done something opposite. That is also contempt. So
So we
somebody
have
moves.
we have cases when the state government itself has violated, sir.
Yes, we have hundreds and thousands of cases. So
Exactly.
who violates the officials violate? How do they violate? They violate through a process, some written order, some proceeding, something. Why do they violate? Because of the oral orders of their political masters, the ministers. No minister will give a written order saying that violate this court order or do something that will be
Obviously.
violated. Those fellows will escape. But these shameless IAS officers, government officials, they don't respect the courts, they carry out the orders of the ministers and violate. Now, if somebody files a contempt case, the court should within 3 months hear the matter, and if they are found guilty, they should put them into jail. 6 months jail, which is the maximum in contempt cases. You think the IAS officers will then obey the ministers? They will say, sir, naan jail I will not go to the jail. If you want, you do something. So
Nice.
this is the second reason. First is the lack of cause in court cases. Second is the court's failure to put the contemners or the violators in jail. Third is the Dravidian Siddhanta, which is doing vindictive things. If somebody ridicules Lord Nataraja or Hindu practices and puts up a YouTube posting, and even if 5,000 devotees go on a procession and give a complaint, nothing is done. But if somebody gives a complaint saying that what this Dikshidhar told me hurt my mind, I'm affected, then a case is immediately booked. So the state government is sponsoring continuous interference even after a Supreme Court judgment. Fourth, in my opinion, a very important thing, the BJP, which came to power on a Hindutva flag, slowly turning out to be not just this thing. Hindus can face enemies, but they cannot face traitors. People say, I'm your friend, I'm your protector, and they do exactly the opposite thing. With one notification, Modi's government can end the undue interference of state government HRNC departments
No,
in
even in
Hindu.
BJP ruled states, this is happening. How will they do it?
That's what I'm saying. You're talking about Hindutva, you're talking about Hindu rights, you're talking about a uniform civil code. Should there not be a uniform civil code in places of worship matters? For Christians, there is no law to control their places of worship or charities. For Muslims, there is a law to control their charities. For Hindus, there is a law to control their charities and their places of worship. And once you go there, once the temple is taken over, it's never given back. Whereas the constitution says you can take over the management of any property. It does not say about a religious place. It says about any property, either under the company law or a bank or a cooperative society, only for a limited period. Why that law does not appeal to these government fellows or to the courts to enforce it on temple matters? And BJP is in the 9th year of power. And I know it for a fact that they said they will release temples when they came to power, before they came to power in 2014.
It was
Have they taken
even
it
part
now?
of their manifesto for the previous
Yes,
election that happened.
yes. So
Even the current
they
president,
are.
Mr. Annamalai, has said the same. I mean, he has
See,
said few weeks back.
Annamalai is the only BJP leader who spoke very clearly on this. He even said that will be the first thing we will do when we come to power. He is very clear
Correct.
on that. Okay, but most of the, see, like Bombay announced it in Karnataka that we will free temples. I heard later that RSS and BJP leaders prevailed upon him to keep quiet, and some bureaucrats also. So, releasing temples from government control is not a priority at all. Rather, keeping it is a priority for BJP leaders also. Is this not a fraud on the people? Is this not a fraud on their Siddhanta? Is this not something that akin to cheating the voters? So, there are 4 reasons. The number of cases in court where they do not affix any cause, where the contempt petitions are not taken up by the court and they do not punish the violators of the judgments and law laid down by the courts. Then the Dravidian model, which goes after only the Sanatani Dharmics. Fourth, the criminal inaction of BJP and their allied parties in protecting Hindu rights. I think I made it clear.
Perfect, sir. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing a lot of information and insights into this issue, and also briefly summarizing what needs to be done to get a permanent solution. It's a great pleasure talking to you, sir. Best wishes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the
Namaskar.
opportunity.